welcome back from that health tips. Hope you learned a thing or two. Now, moving on is our first conversation for the day, and we have in the studio an economist in person of Yusha'u Aliyu. Welcome on the program.
Thank you very much, Pamela.
Welcome. Yeah. Now, for starters, we hear government just shortlisted 10,000 youths out of the 3 million that applied for the Nigerian Youth Investment Fund. What is the implication of this what is the implication of this move by the federal government on the economy?
The implication is that government has serious job to do as far as job creation is concerned and employment opportunities. Okay. And at the same time, also the economy also vindicated that there is large number of youths that are unemployed or having nothing to do to the economy, which is devastating to the economy, where you have 3 million youth applying in a nation that you have 200 million people. So this by all ramification is that there is a heavy challenge by government and also private entities, and also there is also greater heavy duty or greater heavy challenge from the household where these youth are coming from. And there is also need for government to understand the structure of those youth, to understand them, to understand their educational level, and also to understand the risks of not providing them job to the economy.
That's a lot. Yes. Okay. We learned that this shortlisted people will be trained before the funds are disbursed to them. How will this impact job creation?
You see, anytime we are talking of employment, we are talking about formal jobs and informal jobs, and also there is also in between. This is just an intervention where you now see the structure and then trying to help out the situation. Government has a plan of taking above 10 million youth from that cycle. And at the same time, looking at the poverty line in Nigeria, where you have above 100 million people below poverty line. That is a serious challenge.
It is.
That even those who are employed are finding it difficult to cater for their need because a lot of them are underemployed. So when you have a situation of that nature and you have a great challenge of trying to structure a system where you can create a model where youth can have an opportunity to be first to be considered, second to be trained, and third to be given an opportunity. That is very significant as far as developing an economy is concerned, but it has to do with a lot of care, it has to do with a lot of caution, and it has to do with a lot of commitment too.
Okay. The loans range between 250,000 to 3 million naira. As an economic expert, do you think such amounts will stimulate the desired growth in the economy?
It is just going to help the economy, and they help the economy through saving some skilled youth from unemployment market. Looking at the ratio, first you look at the structure of the economy. You look at the structure also of the demography itself. Okay. So when you have 3 million youth applying just for an intervention, that shows that Nigeria is not making maximum use of its own youth, because when we are shouting diversification, it is assumed that government alone cannot do it. Federal government alone cannot do it. So, but what is the way forward? The way forward is, first of all, to create an awareness. Awareness that has to go all looks and crannies of the economy. That is 774 local government, so that the youth can be mobilized. That is one. Well, by mobilizing them, for them to be aware that there is an opportunity waiting for them, by creating a window. And that window that government has created and then about to disburse money, will create a lot of scenario. First, who are going to be the beneficiaries? I'm just trying to make this background for you to understand that even to look at the amount, on an average, that amount is not enough. Looking at the inflationary trend in the economy, looking at the type of jobs. If you are taking youth, for instance, to poultry production, they need a site, they need working capital, and they need money for the input. So that enough cannot do. But because it is called an intervention, we can accept it. And also the performance of that is what will justify whether is going to help the economy through the GDP or not. Because whatever commitment we are doing with our resources, we have to get the commensurate output. If that output is not there, and that output can be distorted through a lot of factors.
Okay.
These factors include human factors. If the right people are not given this opportunity, what are we expecting? If the right people are given the opportunity, what are we expecting? And also, how are you going to expand them? Because the economy is like human system. From a baby to a child, growing child, to an adult, to maturity,
Yes.
to all age. So that is all what happens to an economy, and that is what happens to all investment. We're expecting that by this intervention, taking 100,000 youths to be empowered should be step one. Second is to create a scenario where people will continue to have hope, and that hope has to be demonstrated. And government has avenues through which they can make this intervention works. We have a lot of industries that are thriving. We have to create opportunities. We have to create additional windows through talking to the state. We have to speak to the state to also join, so that we can create a system where the whole system will be secured. When you have youth that are unemployed, when you have youth that are underemployed, it's not only the economy that is being cheated. Social stratification, social stability of the system is also at risk. And that is why in our own submission most of the time is the fact that the essence of having good government is to create a scenario where there is going to be stable prices of whatever that is taking place in the economy, and then you try as much as possible to minimize unemployment rate.
Okay. Well, your thoughts are really deep on that. Yes.
Thank you very much.
So, what must be done to sustain and ensure this latest effort by the government succeed? Because it's one thing for you to dish out, or better still, to give out funds, and then when such funds are not, when there's no monitoring, when there's no checking to see whether what are these people doing with such funds, definitely in the end the sustenance of such efforts becomes null.
The sustainer has to do with, it's a dual-edged sword.
Okay.
There is the effort government must be doing, and there is an effort the beneficiary must be doing.
Put in place.
Government must put in place. This intervention is a welcome idea.
Okay.
And because of many factors that affected the economy, one, there is high inflation, there is high unemployment, and also there is a lost job. People that lost job. So we have to borrow certain scenario, especially what happens in Australia. That is, you have to create job makers, and you have to also make emphasis on job keepers. Those that are in the job, government must do all possible things to make sure that they remain in their job. And this effort, which government has now brought to assist the unemployment rate in Nigeria, must be sustained through revolving scheme, through good monitoring, and at the same time through good sensitization. It is not enough to give money to an individual for investment purposes, probably to an area he doesn't have an experience, probably in an area where he doesn't have the interest. So government must employ psychologists to be working along with the policy makers to understand the psychologies of those who are the beneficiaries. Probably somebody may be good in a different skill, but because the only opportunity that is available to him is what he saw, he can take it, and that cannot be sustained. So when you talk of sustainability has to go with a plan, and that plan has to be well monitored, and not only well monitored, has to be well supervised by the supervising agencies.
This is indeed a very broad conversation that I think is just, we're talking about it and it's just like we're giving it a pat on the back. I think we should definitely bring you back on this program so we can talk more on this same conversation. Thank you for coming on the program.
Thank you very much.
But just your final words to viewers, just in 2 sentences.
We should try and admit that we are Nigerians. We should try as much as well to be patriotic. And when you do that, God will help you to succeed. Thank you.
Thank you for coming on the program. Yusha'u Aliyu.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I'm glad. Thank you.
It's been an interesting conversation.
Thank you
with
very
you.
much.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
All right, viewers. Good Morning Abuja continues shortly after this break. Please do stay with us. Welcome back from that break. The show is still Good Morning Abuja. Here in the studio is a poet I'm sure you would love to meet. He is Bello Poet. Bello, welcome to the program.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah. So is Bello Poet your real name? Like Bello your name, Poet your surname or something? So how did you?
My name is Muhammad Bello Mikael.
Okay.
So when I started spoken word poetry, I needed like a stage name that would be recognized with, so I decided to just go with Poet.
Okay.
So Bello Poet.
Oh, okay. That's a lovely name. So you and poetry, how did you find love? How did you people find each other in love?
I think poetry finds me,
Okay.
or chose me, so to say.
Okay.
Because I came across a popular spoken word artist by the name of Buna Muhammad. He's
Okay.
a poet. He's a Canadian poet.
Okay.
So I remember during my school days, we do, because I'm an art student, we do poetries
Okay.
in school, but the kind of poetry we do are kind of, let's call it boring or something. Like William Shakespeare, as in, so I didn't find it more suitable to do. But
Or
when I
probably
came,
you couldn't relate with it.
yeah.
Okay.
So, but when I came across this very video of a spoken word, like, this is nice, and I decided, okay. At first, I have no idea that it's spoken word poetry. I thought the guy is just doing his cruise or something. So, I just make inquiry like, okay, what's this guy doing? So I found out that that's a spoken word poetry and it's falls under poems. I'm like, oh, that's interesting. So like, let me give it a try.
Okay.
So I memorized the whole piece. Then during our leisure time in school, I just come out and then I just like kind of perform, and then people like, whoa, you're doing great and stuff like that. So I started performing in some of the functions at school and getting recognized on something. So I thought to myself, okay, why if I can perform someone else's piece and then get praise for that, why not
Not mine?
Yeah. So that's how I started writing poetry.
Okay. So how long have you been in this business of poetry?
I think officially I'll say 3 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So what works have you done?
I've done a couple of works and a couple of artists
Okay.
around the country or something.
Okay,
Yeah.
Okay. I am itching to hear a piece, an original piece from you. So please.
Wow. Okay. Let's have it then. My pen, my rifle. My words, my ammunition. My thoughts, weapon of man construction, a bulletproof on a war zone, a life vest on a sinking ship. But I wish I could lay a foundation with my pen, I wish I could lay a foundation with my pen, make every word a brick, every line a pillar, every verse a room, and every stanza a roof. I wish I could, but if wishes were horses, everyone will ride. So this is like a short piece.
Whoa,
Like
it's beautiful.
Thank
Like I kept
you.
looking at you and I'm like, all of this is coming from his head.
Yeah.
Wow, that's beautiful. So what's this poem about? This particular one?
I actually wrote this poem like to kind of be like a voice to the homeless
Okay.
and those who are kind of voiceless, because I like literally saying I wish I could lay a foundation with my pen if I can help those who are like going through difficulties and hardship, but wishes were not horses, but I can just do the part I can and then leave the rest for Almighty God.
Let's say I'm that youth watching this program and I'm like, oh, I love what this guy is doing. How can I be like him? Could you just advise our youths watching, if they would want to be like you, what should they do? Should they pick up a book, read, or just what?
Yes, if you are watching me right now and you want to be a poet or something, and one thing I would advise is never play with your studies.
Okay.
But in whatever you do, consistency is the key. Because you might have this passion or zeal of doing something, and you might start very well and okay, but along the line you feel like get tired of it, or it's going to be boring. Definitely it's never going to be like a smooth ride. So but the challenges helps it more fun and interesting. So just be consistent, don't give up, keep doing what you love doing. As if it's not if you not go against the law or something, just keep pushing.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you've had it all, viewer, from Bello Poet. He says we should find a passion and be consistent at it. Thank you for coming on the program.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah. Now, Good Morning Abuja continues shortly. Please do stay with us.
In Abuja, as always, we talk about the beautiful city that is the Federal Capital Territory.
Window on Abuja, every Tuesday at 1:30 p.m. on NTA Channel 5, Abuja. Window on Abuja, all about Abuja.
Welcome back. The show is still Good Morning Abuja, and we just finished an interview with a spoken word artist, and wow, he's good. Now, moving on is another interview. We have an interesting guest in the studio. You know, once you talk about agriculture, the first thing that comes to the human mind is food. Did you know that Saturday the 16th was World Food Day? And of course, it was celebrated in Abuja and in Nigeria in general. Now, to talk about food is an agricultural expert in person of Ephraim Audu. He's the founder, Agricultural Agenda Nigeria Initiative. Welcome, Mr. Ephraim.
Thank you for having me.
Good to have you in the studio, really.
Thank you. Yeah.
Okay. So, you're the founder, Agricultural Agenda Nigeria Initiative. What's that all about? Can you give us a brief overview?
Okay. Agricultural Agenda Nigeria Initiative. It's a non-governmental organization.
Okay.
That is established on the quest to enhance the food productivity.
Okay.
And we are focusing on Sustainable Development Goal 1 and 2 of zero hunger and no poverty. So now it is a deliberate effort in order to ensure that hunger and starvation, acute hunger, are being ameliorated.
Okay.
So far we are working closely with smallholders farmers across the rural areas, and ensuring that we're adding value across the value chain, which so far quite a lot of jobs are being created, and it's wonderful.
Oh, well, it's good to know that people are doing a lot in that area.
Absolutely.
Now, you talked about alleviating hunger. And to do that, we would need that food is in abundance.
Absolutely.
So when you hear about food security, what's the first thing that comes to your mind?
Well, you see, there is one thing, so many things are involved. One thing is to cultivate the soil and have high yield. Another thing is how to sustain the food in order to avoid perishes, or wastages. So now let's say apart from staple crops, there are other perishable crops like vegetable, tomato, and all that, all including other, So now when you produce such product in high yield, what value have you added to it? So now in most cases, these produce are being cultivated and produced in rural areas. So before they are being transported to where they are needed, they are already perished. Okay, for example, in Nigeria, Kaduna, Benue, Gombe, Plateau, and few other states produced tomato in a high yield, but you barely see tomato processing plants apart from recently the Dangote tomato and the tomato juice. Okay, but any other factory are located in Lagos and all that. So now these farmers usually experience a lot of post-harvest losses simply because they may not have the capacity to preserve those to preserve or refrigerate it or whatever means that will chill it and elongate the lifespan. Okay, so in a situation where such produce are being harvested and no immediate response to value chain, that's what leads to food insecurity and food wastages.
Okay, so what can or what should be done, because this is definitely one of the challenges that farmers face in food production? What should be done to cushion that effect?
Excellent. Well, as I speak, the federal government are doing a lot.
Okay.
The government of His Excellency President Muhammadu Buhari are doing a lot. They have launched series of projects that are focusing on value chain. Then SMEDAN, the Small and Medium Enterprise Development Agency of Nigeria, have launched a project that is called One Local Government, One Product. Meaning for every local government, whatever product they have high comparative advantage, you produce it, then within the same setting, you process it into value chain.
Oh, wow, that's nice.
Yes. So now, it is an added advantage for us to take advantage of what we produce more, then consume it, and also export from the excess.
We've established already that this is one of the challenges that farmers face. Okay, so how can we maximize agricultural value chain to boost job creation and to alleviate poverty?
Well, you see, as I speak, there are a lot of sensitization going on.
Okay.
Our organization, ANI, the Agricultural Agenda Nigeria, is doing a lot.
Okay.
We are currently aggregating smallholders farmers across rural areas in partnership with the Food and Agricultural Organization and other relevant agencies of government as we speak. And what we do, just some days ago, we celebrated the World Food Day, which is October 16. It's a deliberate effort to ameliorate the high degree of acute hunger. So in that synergy, we have taken such campaign to where it is needed. All right, to ensure that smallholders farmers, basically women and youth, engage in cultivating what they have high advantage on, crops that they have high comparative advantage. Then within the same setting, process it through off-takers. We have off-takers, processors that we've signed tripartite agreement with to take advantage of those crops upon harvest. So now there will be no challenges of who will buy our produce, and also the off-takers are readily available to off-take from the farmers. If not for the challenges of insecurity, I want to assure you a lot are happening. And very soon, Nigeria will not only consume what it produces, but also export massively from same.
We look forward to that time.
Absolutely.
Okay, so now you talked about bringing hunger and poverty to the barest minimum, if not eradicating it totally. For that to happen, we must have a bumper harvest.
Excellent.
What should be put in place to ensure that, as a nation, our harvest is top-notch?
All right, I thank you very much. This is the most important aspect of this session. Yeah.
To
be frank with you, not only Nigeria, as I speak, across 150 countries,
Okay.
okay, are already taking action.
Okay.
From the theme of the just celebrated World Food Day, it means better production, better nutrition,
Okay.
better environment,
Okay.
and better life. So now this is a deliberate effort to ensure that are done in all ramifications. First, coming back to your question, the only solution that will enhances high yield and bumper harvest is solving the problem of headers farmers crisis.
Okay.
Okay, these are banditry, activities of terrorists within the bush, where these farmers go to seek their daily bread in the farm. Okay, which I know the current administrator is doing lots. I know you must have heard about what's going on in Zamfara, Kaduna, and some selected states right now, where they are taking it. I think we are gradually getting there. Another major factor that those watertight policies that directly affect the poorest of the poor, I think federal government may need to, renew some of these policies.
This is actually a very broad topic, that I would really love to just continue talking about, as it involves food. Food is something we all need. Now, just in very few words, what advice do you have for youths who would want to invest in agriculture? Just very few words, 2 sentences max, maybe.
Oh wow, there is money in agriculture. Okay, agri-tech, smart agribusinesses, and also are excellent. So now there is money in agriculture that your NMPC salary cannot pay. I can bet you. You work in whatever sector you think, or MDAs, agencies, private sectors, you think you are well paid. Venture into agriculture, you will never regret it.
No wonder he is shining. No wonder he is shining.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Thank you for coming on the program.
Thank you. Viewers, thank you for having me.
All right. Thank you. Good morning, Abuja continues after this short break. Welcome back from that break. If you've just joined us, the program is still Good Morning, Abuja. Now, humans have evolved, and one thing that has definitely evolved with us is our means of communication. We can barely do a thing without ICT these days. In the studio here with me is an ICT expert in person of Hassan Abdul, who is the CEO of Media Range Limited. He's a media ICT expert. Welcome to the program.
Thank you very much, Pamela. Good morning.
Good morning. You are looking sharp. Let me use that word.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much, Pamela. Good morning, Abuja. It's nice to be here on the show.
All right. Now, talking ICT, you are the CEO of Media Range Limited. You are a media person and an ICT expert.
Yes.
What's that like? It's a lot.
Well, sure. Yes, it's a lot, but these days, the media industry, especially more than any other industry in the world, has been impacted by ICT. So there is a place for people who are more or less like hybrids. So you are an expert in the media and you're also an expert in ICT. The ICT skill helps you to do better as a media professional. So that's basically how the whole marriage started. I started in the media industry a while back, and then I picked up some ICT skills, and it actually helped me to grow, so to speak, in the industry. So yeah, that's how it started.
Okay, I like your description saying it's a marriage. It's a beautiful marriage. Yes. Media, ICT. All right. Yes. So information communication technology has impacted different sectors of the Nigerian economy. The application of ICT has emerged as the most radical development in the 21st century. What's your take on that?
Okay, so information and communication technology brought something totally different in the revolution, or in the evolution of human beings. While the other technologies that we had encountered in our growth were mostly restricted to one or two areas, we had
technology that revolutionized the industrial processes, manufacturing. We had technologies that impacted transportation. So we had the motor vehicle, we had the aeroplanes, we had the trains. We had even technologies that impacted even food production processes. But most of these technologies stopped at just those industries. However, when we came to this point now of embracing this new technology, the invention and the embracing of this new technology, what has been seen is a technology that cuts across every single sector. Because like you mentioned at the beginning, communication is it's something that is human. Human beings must communicate. And human beings are the ones that drive all of these sectors, so they must communicate. So the access to information and the utilization of information is a component of every single sector. So the evolutions in ICT, beyond just becoming a product in themselves, they are also useful in every single sector. So I mentioned transportation earlier. We have the aeroplanes, we have the motor vehicles. But when you now look at even within those sectors, find out that aeroplanes now utilize some form of ICTs for communication and for sharing of information. Your motor vehicles today, you get into cars these days. You have cars that can talk back to you. You can talk to your car. You have cars that use satellite navigation systems. Most of us cannot go anywhere today without Google Maps. So you are in your car and then you have your navigational aid. So every single sector now is impacted by the technology that came in through communication. And why is this very important? Without information, we cannot share knowledge. Without information, we cannot make decisions.
True.
So any technology that comes in that makes access to information and makes production of information easier and faster will certainly be of use to every other place where you have human beings engaged in any endeavor.
You know, I remember fond memories of growing up those days. Because you really needed to communicate, you would go to either Nitel, or you would go to a neighbor's house and be waiting. Oh, I'm going to receive a call from so, and you're waiting. But over time, it has evolved. How impactful do you think how impactful do you think this is?
Okay, I think one of the most important things it has done is it has made the access to information much closer to everyone.
Okay.
You mentioned people having to go and spend hours waiting for a phone call. So maybe you had passed a message across somebody before that. This my neighbor will be at home between 2 and 4 p.m. So I'll go and wait in their house. So if you call around that time, I'll be in their house. So you suspend everything you are doing so that you can go and wait for that phone call.
I just go and sit down. Once the phone rings, hey!
You pick it up. Today is no longer like that.
Yes.
We have technologies that have made it possible for us to walk around with gadgets through which people can reach us. So you can be carrying out any other activity and people can still reach you wherever you are. Even if you are not able to respond to their communication by voice call, they can leave a WhatsApp message for you. And whenever you are ready, you pick it up and you respond. So communication has become more personal and more instantaneous. So that has reduced the time lag between when somebody needs to talk to you and when you are able to get the information. So those are some of the things that have changed significantly in our lives as human beings. Technology has made information more readily accessible, made it easier for us to reach out to people. I remember we were talking earlier about last week when there was the downtime from one of the telcos, and 2 weeks ago when there was a downtime from one of the social media companies. People have become so used to these things that it seems like it came with us from. In fact, it came with us from the Garden of Eden. Meanwhile, these things are new.
Yes.
20 years ago, this was not the norm.
Yes, it wasn't.
It wasn't, but now it has become so ingrained in us. It's like that is how life is supposed to be. A friend of mine said, Armageddon will not be very hard to achieve. Shut down all social media and all telecommunications. People just are dying. Some people cannot live without it anymore.
Yes.
That's how it has become a part of all of us today.
But with, you mentioned we now have gadgets that, you can just send a fast message and what have you. That has made every other person think, oh, so I can share this information without even checking if it's true or not. What's your take on that? it has definitely increased the circulation of fake news.
Yes. Now that's a very, very, very important topic and an area of concern. You see, there's this saying that says, with great power comes great responsibility.
Yes.
I think that's one thing people need to really, really learn. You now have the power to spread information. Everybody is now a publisher. Everybody is now a broadcaster. You have the tools that allow you to do that. However, what many people forget is, even though this used to be the purview of a particular profession in the past, people were trained in how to do it because information is very delicate. One wrong piece of information can make or mar somebody's life or the life of a society. So now everybody has that power. Does everybody have the maturity to manage that information responsibly? That is where there is need for more widespread indoctrination of media literacy, how to use the media or content when you come across it. So you have all of these tools available to you to use, but today's world, we have a proliferation of all kinds of content. There is information, and then you have other things like entertainment content. You have misinformation deliberately created by some people. You have hate speech deliberately being generated by some people. You have all kinds of content that are able to do a variety of things. And it falls into the hands of many people who do not really know how to sift through and what to do with it when it comes into their hands.
And you do not know the ripple effects of that information you're passing.
Exactly. So we have those challenges to contend with in the new world that we're in. This year, World Press Freedom Day, the theme was information as a public good. So because people need to know that the difference between information, which is useful, and content, which is destructive, people need to be able to understand the difference and to know which one to place emphasis on. You have the right to not share information. Nobody says because you got something you must share it.
You must share.
That somebody sent it to you does not mean you will share it.
And there's this message, especially that somebody sent it to you and said, send to 10 people, if not.
If not, what?
That one baffles me.
How do you threaten me on social media? Send to 10 people and then something good will happen to you. Send to 20 people to prevent this from happening. So people are bringing you into their own schemes and gimmicks to try to spread an information that is not true or that is harmful. And most times people don't stop to check. I always tell my friends, interrogate everything. No matter the source of that information, one, interrogate it. Is this thing true? Then two, also ask yourself, what do I gain from sharing it? Is there really anything to gain from it?
Will it save someone?
Will it save someone? Because at the end of the day, you use information to make critical decisions that affect you, and as well you can use information to sustain or to build a society or a system.
Definitely.
If the information you are getting and which you are trying to disseminate is not achieving these, then you need to also critically appraise, why am I going to go ahead to do this? If this information is going to put somebody in trouble or is going to destroy something, I am now a willing participant in that negative outcome. So we need to be able to come to that point of maturity where we ask ourselves questions whenever we are in possession of information. Yeah.
This is a conversation I am definitely enjoying, but you know how it is.
Yes.
Time. But just in a few words, can you advise youths out there on how to use this on the effective, let me put it this way, effective use of the social media?
Okay, so I think in a few words what I will say is social media is a tool. And you need to have an idea of what you want to be in life, what you want to be, and social media should be a tool that helps you get there. Social media should not be consumed as an addiction that you just find yourself using because you cannot do without it. It should be used by you for a purpose. So there should always be a purpose, and that purpose has to be meaningful both for you and for the society in which you find yourself, because without the society you also cannot exist. So your use of the tool should also help to sustain the society, both in terms of social aspects, the political aspects, the economic aspects of the society. Your use of that tool should contribute meaningfully in all of that. Thank you very much, Pamela.
Thank you so much for coming on the program.
Thank you.
I enjoyed. You just have a lot. I think we'll have to call
There's so
you
much
again.
more to discuss on this topic, actually.
We'll just have to call you next time again to talk more ICT.
Thank
for
you very
coming
much,
on.
Pamela.
Yes.
I enjoyed myself too.
If you just joined us, we just finished conversing with Hassan Abdul, who is the CEO Media Range Limited. He's a media ICT expert, and I tell you, I think I'm already believing I'm an expert just by sitting and conversing with you.
No, I think you're an expert already.
Oh, okay.
I think you're an expert already.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Now, Good Morning Abuja continues with this musical break. Enjoyed by. We thank all our guests for coming because our conversation this morning was really top notch. Thank you for coming, and thank you, viewer, for staying with us all through our time here. Now, Good Morning Abuja comes to you every weekday, 6 a.m. to 7 a.m. Do enjoy the rest of your day. I remain Pamela Zamfara.
I've been running to you, running to you. You got there for me, anywhere that you go. You don't need to worry, anything you want. Sun up to sundown, love me no go round down. Anytime you call me, baby, I go answer. Any other